What a lot of you are seeing that might be new to Three Houses or just discovered the series through this channel is that in a lot of these videos, my character is Dimitri, who's one of the most powerful characters in the game as far as growths, and a lot of people would say that it's hard to screw him up as far as being a strong character. This is Azure Moon 2, where it's late in the game, and just the normal progression of the game, even irrespective of a lot of the benefits that you know from playing the game before, that you could take advantage of to create a powerful character. Well, he's powerful whether or not you have those things. So, Dimitri, you're seeing him in Azure Moon, as I've said, and you're seeing him constantly dodge and critically hit enemies. I'm basically taking a really good character and playing off his strengths to maximize them in the most efficient way. But what would happen if I took a character from my experience or objectively that is weak in a certain field and try to train them towards that field? Well, it would make for an interesting challenge, and I think that there would be more things to overcome. There would be more questions of, can I get through a certain chapter? Because sometimes a chapter, like I've said, makes for a more interesting challenge when it's so ludicrously hard that you've had to reset it and try it for a week because the circumstances that you play it on aren't favorable towards you. So chapter, like a paralogue, that's really hard, Legend of the Lake, or The Forgotten Hero, or Chapter 5 is very hard for people in their first time, particularly on Maddening, with no New Game Plus. A lot of people played the game with New Game Plus for Maddening because Maddening came out later, but I think that would make for an interesting future playthrough where I take somebody like Ash that I've found to be weak. I take somebody magically oriented and try to play them basically what you might consider the underdog, because lore-wise and gameplay statistically, Dimitri is one of the most powerful characters. Claude's pretty good. Edelgard can be very good with Raging Storm as a combat art, because she can hit somebody as many times as the weapon permits with that combat art. These are real power players. Byleth is literally God, spoiler alert. And other characters in the game have these crests, which is the basis of the story. Makes them ludicrously strong. Lore is more of a story for another day, but these crests are basically the body parts of these divine beings called Nabateans that make them really powerful, because long ago a bunch of nefarious people started killing off these Nabateans and gave the crest, which is their blood and body parts, and embedded it into these humans, and these humans had descendants. These humans were called elites, and the descendants of these elites ended up bearing these crests, and crests are a great source of power in the lore of Ferdinand. Therefore, everybody wants crests, and it creates a whole caste system around crest, and it's the crux of the story where the character Edelgard hates the crest system, what it's done to people, and Dimitri has a different view on the deontology, the morals of how to deal with a world. We've got the problem of crest and how you can solve it, and Edelgard does. They come to blows. Claude doesn't care so much about crests, but he is dismissive of the whole Fodlan system in general. Fodlan's parochial, I guess, closed off isolationist stance, and he feels like some of the fighting and the otherness between Almyra and Fodlan is stupid, so he takes kind of an oblique angle to the dilemma of the crest. Even sometimes you could say Rhea regrets the continuation of the crest system and says Sothis didn't even grant crest to humans. This was the work of the Agarthans and Nemesis. Long story short, though, off that tangent, is that crests have modifiers to characters. Some crests allow you to do things that are pretty marginal, like conserve magic uses. Some allow you to frequently, like Fraldarius, attack somebody for more damage. You might have something like Bladed, the Dimitri crest, where he is able to attack for like double damage, which is crazy, but it procs rarely. So that's a lot of stuff, basically, with these crests. Crest of Flames of Violet allows her to heal while attacking, similar to the Crest of Regan. Crest do apply a statistical matter, but I would still say that in combat, commoners who don't have crest can be quite evenly matched against people who do have crest, even though in lore, crest bearers are supposed to be like superhumans. But the commoners, from a lore perspective, and sometimes they might be looked at as like the underdogs. And then there are characters that betray an air of weakness, like Hilda's like, in her personality, she's like, I'm so weak, I can't fight, just let everybody else do all the fighting, I'll cheer from the sidelines. And every single time you'll see her go, you're making me work, or something like that, where she just does these criticals with an axe riding a wyvern and creates total carnage. Another one is Bernadetta, who has Vengeance, and Vengeance is a very wonderful little combat art with lances you can get at Lance Training C, and Bernadetta will pretty much take her lance, and if she's got like 1 health, the difference in health between that and full will be stacked upon the normal damage level that strength can provide, so she can double her damage effectively. And her personal ability means she does more damage when she has less than full health. It's called Persecution Complex, and it's meant to fit her personality. So Bernadetta, a lot of people would say, is a unit that belies her strength through being a wallflower of a personality, scared of her own shadow in the outside world. What's more is she's got the crest of Indec, which allows her to occasionally attack twice, and of course statistically it becomes less and less odds that if you have like a double, both doubles are going to attack twice. But there are hypothetical calculations that have been made where people can use Bernadetta to get ridiculously high damage with the inexhaustible bow, which is rewarded to Leonie because of her hard work and wanting to get it, but it really fits somebody like Bernadetta, who has the crest of Indec. So I do think it would be interesting to play characters, try to get through the gauntlet, the absolute bloodbath that is the first 2 chapters, and see how well some of these other characters that we don't think of could get through maddening in solo. In a normal playthrough, don't underestimate the ability of certain abilities like Darting Blow with a Pegasus Knight that female characters can get when they master the Pegasus Knight class. The Brigand with his respective advantage called Death Blow. These 2 abilities will increase your speed by 6 and your strength by 6 on player phase, which for a normal playthrough that is player phase weighted. Therefore, you have good speed that you can double, more speed than you should have at a respective level to give you a competitive edge over other enemies. Like, you can have both these perks, Death Blow and Darting Blow, used with your character so that on player phase you can double as a girl character, and for the male characters they can still get a bonus from having more strength, because a difference of 6 strength, the margins are huge when you're around the level of a character that you're with, like an enemy you're fighting. there are some other perks that are practical.